Hello and welcome to The Writer's Mindset with me, Kermit the Frog and Darth Vader's love child, Christina Adams.
How can I follow that? And me, Ellie Betts.
This week we've got a special announcement. So, our announcement is that after a lot of thought, we have decided to take a break from recording The Writer's Mindset.
Yes, we are going on hiatus for the podcast for many different reasons, to be honest with you, and it wasn't an easy decision to make. Christina and I both are working full time. Christina obviously has her freelance business. I am trying to write my first book. Christina's writing her books. We have a lot of other stuff going on, and we just unfortunately can't keep juggling all this stuff.
Yeah, when we interviewed Becca last, was it in August?
Sure, let's say August.
We interviewed her in August and we released the episode in September. And one of the questions we asked her was about people who burn out repeatedly. And she said that the people who burn out repeatedly tend to be the people who burn out and then try to return to doing things in the same way that they did before. And I was kind of teetering on the edge of burnout when we recorded that. And not long after, I had to basically slam on the brakes, stop writing fiction, barely do anything except the necessities because I was just running on adrenaline and very close to collapsing mentally and physically again. And after experiencing that last summer, I don't want to go through it again. And yeah, it just kind of made me realize that my energy is more limited than your average person's energy. And I have to work with that, not against it. And I have to prioritize the things that essentially make me the most money for the least effort, being brutally honest. And when we went to Newcastle for a conference, someone who's also got chronic fatigue syndrome was one of the speakers. And she talked about that as well. And it was a real epiphany for me.
It was because I I could see that you were struggling, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't not struggling necessarily, but Christina has a lot going on all the time, and we had very serious conversations saying, do we want to keep doing this? And of course we want to, but can we keep doing this? Can we sustain this? And we don't have unlimited energy, unfortunately. We don't have unlimited time to work on the episodes as much as we love putting them out and we love the community we've built. These things aren't, that's not the word I'm looking for. Energy isn't, unending. That's a horrible way of phrasing it. But unfortunately, the energy is just lacking. As much as we wish, it wasn't. We wish editing took 2 minutes and all the marketing took 1 minute and, all these other things. Sadly, that's not the case. And it's a lot of time and energy we're putting in. Like you say, unfortunately, not for any money, which is the sad fact of podcasting, unfortunately, isn't it?
I think if you're doing podcasting to market a business, it makes sense. But I think if you're creating for creating's sake, it's a lot harder if you don't have any sort of backup. And if I had a full-time job and I wasn't doing my books and stuff, it might be a lot easier. But since we slowed down, I have already fixed several things in my books I thought were unfixable. And I think that says a lot for what happens when you slow down and reduce your commitments. Because I genuinely thought that I may quit writing fiction altogether after my latest book. That's how bad it was.
Which is not the goal. We don't want to keep putting out the podcast at the expense of your passion.
Yeah. And I did some maths. And this is hard truth for writers that I wasn't actually going to share, but I want to. And I realized that every podcast episode we put together, from idea generation right through to the marketing, is causing me to lose about £600 in my business based on how much I earn per blog post and how long the podcast takes to put together. And in the current state of the world, that's not sustainable. And also, again, tying back to energy, it's not a great use of my time or energy when I already feel like shite.
Exactly. So we have a lot of justification for just going on hiatus for the time being.
And we want to explain this to you because we want to be transparent. We want to be honest and human with you because that's what we've always done. That's an important part of sharing mindset and understanding mindset and dealing with issues and feeling less alone. Because when you're a writer, when you have mental health issues, when you have self doubt and all these things, you can feel very alone. And we want you to know that it is okay to take a break. It is okay to stop. It is okay to slow down, to pivot, to pause, to reevaluate. None of those things make you a failure. It can make you a greater success. It can make you stronger. It can make you happier. It can make you healthier. And that's ultimately what we're aiming for.
Yeah, there's a lot of power to be had in knowing your limits, knowing what's best for you at the time, and putting your energy into the right sources instead of just dumping it into the wrong one because you think you have to.
Exactly. And it is that whole, oh, I've got to keep doing this. I've got to keep doing that. But what's that Einstein quote about doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. And I feel like that's what I've been stuck in for the last few years. Not just because of the podcast. I don't want it to feel like the podcast is the reason. But in a lot of different ways, I've been repeating the same mistakes. And the last few months have made me reevaluate and just go, no.
Yes, it's very
Why am I standing really wonky, by the way? It's not good for me. My
You're a
chiropractor.
wonky person.
Yeah, that's true.
It's I lost what I was going to say then.
Sorry, my fault.
I forgot what did you just say?
You assume I remember anything. I've got cold. I don't remember 2 minutes ago. Actually, that is literally 2 minutes ago. While you remember what you're going to say, I've got a quick story. My uncle is now retired, but prior to that, he seemed to move house or have a new job every few years, even up until he was retired. And he always seemed to land on his feet. And he changed industries, I might add, in like his 50s. And I've come across a lot of people who are like, you can't change industries in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And he's proof that you can. And actually, he earned quite a bit of money as a salesperson. And so I think he is a prime example of actually you can do what you want, but it is your mindset and potentially yourself, being completely honest, that is in the way. And it is very easy, I think, to have that internal narrative of self hatred, self flagellation, self doubt. You're a piece of shit in the back of your mind without articulating it. I don't articulate my self hatred in my head, but I feel it every day. And that's only really just started to change through a lot of counseling and coaching and expressive writing and slowing the fuck down.
Slowing the fuck down and taking care of yourself goes a hell of a long way, is what we're trying to say. And that's what we need to do, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I actually fixed the aforementioned issues I mentioned earlier when I did slow down. I took some time and I just decided I was just going to lie in bed. And if I didn't sleep, I didn't sleep, but I wasn't going to like force myself to do anything. And I was actually doing a sleep meditation and I had 3 ideas in 10 minutes.
There you go.
So it shows the value, I think, of, like you say, slowing down.
So we're slowing down. We still have quick tips that we are releasing on YouTube. So the little snippets of pieces from interviews, they will be released until at least mid-January, I think, or end of January, until we run out, basically. For those of you who do subscribe to our Patreon, your subscription will be paused, so you don't need to worry about that. We'll take care of it. And everything else, yeah, I mean, you can still find us. We're still around.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. There's still hundreds of blog posts on the Writer's Cookbook. I've got 3 nonfiction books that we actually don't talk about a lot on this podcast, but I've got Productivity for Writers, which feels more appropriate than ever. We've got Writing Myths and also How to Write Believable Characters. And there's the courses over at the Writer's Cookbook with a snazzy bundle where you can get 4 courses for $25 right now. So it's not like there's a shortage of writing tips you can get from us, but there are also some other great writing podcasts out there, like the Indie Author, the Rebel Author podcast, Activated Authors. There's Jenna Morrissey's YouTube channel. There's no shortage of this stuff for you to check out while I find my voice again.
The books that Christina's released, the non-fiction books, are really good. I definitely recommend them, and surprisingly cheap on Amazon. I think you're underselling yourself. But my favorite is definitely the Believable Characters one. That one is just so jam-packed with useful information. So if anyone needs tips on characters, check that one out first.
Thank you. And actually, they'll be on sale in January. I forgot to mention that.
Oh.
All three will. First sale in a while. I can't remember how long. Over a year. Well, Ellie and I are recovering. Obviously, you want to stay in touch with us online and check out the merch, which Ellie is holding up and drinking from, which is a nice inspiration is everywhere mug. And also, I want to recommend a book to you, actually. It's very nice modeling there, Ellie. I feel like we need to turn that into like a GIF.
I should do, and I've got my t-shirt on
Very
as well.
nice. The passive aggressive I'd rather be
My
writing.
passive
That's great for
aggressive.
wearing during work meetings.
It is. I get lots of comments on this, you know.
You do.
People, someone approached me at that conference we were at and bought one because they thought it was so good.
Sorry, something's triggered Millie. It doesn't take a lot. Yeah, so I want to recommend a book called Chatter by Ethan Cross, and it's Cross with a K. And the reason I want to recommend that is because it embodies everything we teach and more, and everything we've just mentioned. You know, dealing with that voice in your head, overcoming negativity, dealing with other people and helping or not helping them. Other stuff that I can't remember, but basically, this guy specializes in this kind of thing. And it's really digestible, really easy to read, not very long, in a good way. And it's my new favorite book. It's overtaken Black Box Thinking because it was so game changing for me and triggered so many epiphanies. I think that anyone looking to truly adapt and enhance their mindset should check it out.
I admit I've only just started reading Chatter based on your recommendation. And even just the first little bit that I read was genuinely very good. It's very well written, very easy to read, but powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not even in the how to bit yet. You're just in the introduction.
I'm just right at the beginning and I already think it's a great book.
Exactly.
That is my door. I've got to go.
Okay, I'll wrap up without you.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, so Ellie's quickly gone and I'm losing my voice. But thank you so much for joining us over the last 2 years. Ellie and I really have enjoyed it. And you can still keep in touch with us on social media. I will include all the links to our platforms in the show notes. You can click through and find us. And of course, you can check out all of my books, fiction and nonfiction, at ChristinaAdamsAuthor.com. Remember, take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't help anyone else. And keep writing.